What is up, y'all? Jill here. Welcome back to Whispering Willow Farm. I'm down in my greenhouse today and I'm going to give you a hard pruning tomato plant update. I know many of you guys commented and you cut the tops off of your tomatoes and hard prune them to a 2-liter or a double-liter system. So if you didn't and you are just tuning in, hi, welcome. I'm Jill. My husband and I own Whispering Willow Farm and it is a joy to share our lives with you guys. So we talk all about farming, gardening, farming vegetables, farming flowers, raising animals, raising kids, you name it, you'll find it here on the blog. So we're happy to have you. But we do grow really efficiently in a small space. Even though we are backyard gardeners and we are growing to sell flowers and food, we don't have a lot of space. We're really not considered market farmers, and so I kind of have this passion and this joy to teach small scale growers how to grow professionally with professional techniques, efficient systems. So I hope you'll try some of these practices in your own backyard and see the abundant yield that it'll produce. But a few weeks back, we hard pruned or topped our tomato plants, and essentially what happened is when you have your first set of true leaves, which are known as a cotyledon leaf, you can snip your tomato plant, and what you will do is essentially you'll just take your fingers and you'll pinch the top. Now if you do want the full video for that, I'm gonna find it and link it here for you guys. But if you do not pinch the top, then your tomato plant is gonna look just like this, right? It's continue to grow this one stem and you'll just have one fruit producing stem, which is what a lot of people do. But when you do hard prune your tomato plants and it creates this double-liter system, which I'm gonna show you in a second, then you don't have just one singular vine producing fruit. At this point, you have 2 main leaders both producing fruit, which guess what? That really does mean double the yield. So if you have a tight space, or maybe you just want to can a lot and grow a lot of food for your family, trying a different way of pruning and trellising I think will be really beneficial. The great thing about creating a double-liter system is that you do not have to have a high tunnel. You can implement the same practice with a few different techniques. We'll be doing a video on that soon of how you can trellis these outside if you're not under protective culture. But if you did like me, so you see here on my plant I had my true cotyledons. This is where that main stem was. I went in with my fingers and I pinched it off. So now what's happened is it has branched and created 1 and 2. So this was just a couple weeks ago, you guys, and so this is what your plant should be looking like. You should have those 2 equal leaders. You will then trellis those 2 leaders up. But however, not all of mine look like this. I had a couple that did not produce these 2 little branches like what I like. And I know that if I've been doing this for a decade and I'm still running into some issues, some of you guys might as well. So if not all of yours did that, maybe they look like, let's see, this one for instance. So this was my main leader. I pinched, and so one side produced, but you can see like this cotyledon's pretty much dried up and died, and it didn't produce another side shoot. So what happened here? Maybe you are in the same boat where you just have one that has done it, but not the other side. You probably just didn't prune down deep enough. So either there was something wrong with that existing cotyledon leaf, you know, and it wasn't sturdy enough to support another growth, I guess. Could be part of it. But if your plants are still relatively small and you notice that they're still kind of having that main dominant leader, you can go in and pinch it. However, if some of yours, like this one, was a little too tall when I noticed it, and so it's not worth it to me. This would set the plant back too much if I went ahead and snipped it now. So I'll let this grow as a single leader. But it is a good technique for next year. You know, if some of yours only produce one side and not the other, you know, what do? Just make sure you pinch deeper. It's a pretty quick fix. But now I want to talk to you guys about pruning your pepper seedlings. This is a question I'm getting quite often, and so I just want to kind of talk to you about hard pruning your pepper seedlings. It has the same benefits as the tomato plant, but how you go about it is a little bit different. So with your tomato plants, you want to make sure it has that one set of true leaves before you can pinch. With a pepper plant, you want to make sure that it has 3 to 4 sets of true leaves. So this pepper plant is actually too small for me to do this technique to. So I wanted to show you this because I think that is a good reference. If your peppers still look like mine, probably not a good time to pinch them. And with my tomato plants, it was no big deal to go in with my fingers when it was small and pinch it off. Peppers tend to be prone to bruising more, and so I do recommend just like pruners or scissors, something that you can just have a clean cut. Your little plant's gonna bounce back from it. So why you would hard prune your peppers, top your peppers, pinch your peppers, you're gonna hear a lot of different terminology thrown around if you are on the social world, and more than likely they all mean the same thing, just kind of taught differently by a few folks. And so to prune them, instead of your plant putting all of its energy in growing vertically and just foliage growth, it's going to encourage more side shoots, which is then going to be, you know, fruit bearing. And so that's what you want. You're going to have a bushier plant in the long run. But essentially what you would do is you would wait until your peppers had 3 to 4 sets of true leaves, and then you would go at the very top. You know, when you have that last third set or 4 sets, whatever you're going with, you would take the top part, what I have right here in my hand, and you would take your scissors or your pruners and you would just snip that off. And then that's it. It's just going to redirect energy back down into creating more side shoots, and you will have a bushier, better plant. You can also do this with basil. There's a lot of different things that you can hard prune and top like this. And specifically with the peppers and the basil, you can do this even as they are out in the garden growing, and it will continue to just encourage them to put on new growth and keep growing wider instead of taller. So I just wanted to share with you guys that quick pruning technique. So if you've been hard pruning your tomatoes with me and they have those 2 main leaders, good job, well done. If they didn't, and maybe you had a bit of troubleshooting, don't beat yourself up over it. And learning a new technique can be difficult, but once you've done it a few times, you realize, oh, it's really not that big of a deal. The first time I ever pruned my tomato plants, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did that. And now I do it without even thinking about it. So I do think it is going to prove fruitful and beneficial if you guys hard pruned your tomato plants with me. I've been getting tagged a lot on social media, but leave a comment. I want to know, does yours look like mine? Are you excited? And what are you most excited about, you know, growing on that double liter system this year? But thank you all for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.